I love it. Hi, everyone. My name is AJ Thomas. I am just happy to be here with y'all and excited to share some of these stories. I am the founder and general partner at 𝘚𝘵𝘦 Ventures. We're an early stage venture capital firm that invests in the intersection of technology and creativity, and also the CEO of a founder and team accelerator called the 𝘸𝘵𝘦 Lab. So we're just making trouble all day.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Bradford, and I am the founder of Human Tech Week. I'm also really my reason for everything is I'm deeply, deeply focused on human potential and unlocking that through technology. And so I do that in three ways. One, I'm an early stage investor in 𝘠𝘠𝘕 Collective, which you've seen on the boards, and also my co-founder, 𝘚𝘠𝘕, and so we do early stage checks into the future of health span, the future of work, and the future of cities. I also gather. This is Human Tech Week was predated by a conference called Transformative Tech that I started in 2014 around the exact same themes. I wanted to call it Human Tech then, but back then people took being human for granted, and so it just didn't have legs to call it that. So I had to call it something else. But with the advent of ChatGPT and everything that we're all in the midst of, people are finally ready to truly value people and to really think about what does it mean to be a human. So now I can use the name I always wanted. And the third thing I do is I advise large global organizations. My number one client is SHRM, and it's the Society of Human Resource Management, and that's HR leaders. What makes that a particularly valuable vantage point is that work is where we have the largest surface area of humans interacting with machines. And so I think in terms of humanity understanding, what does it take for us to find the models that really make it work for people? It's going to happen at work. And so HR leaders are always in the room for AI implementations. Many people don't know that, but they're in the room in some way. And now they're starting to lead many of them because it's not a technological change. It's a social, cultural, behavioral work style change that is integrated with the technology. And so the successful transformations include an extreme human focus. And so that's what I do.
Well, thank you. I don't know if this is this on? Oh, yes, hello. Thank you for doing that. I think that, again, there's magic here today. I was mentioning, right, you guys feeling that in the Hibernia? I'm so glad it's here too, like this old bank. I was like telling my team, I need to take a picture in this vault, okay? So anyway, I'd love for you two to share about you were looking, Nicole, like if you can pose even like the problem you were kind of like you wanted to solve, and AJ came in and was like, that's something I can help, thought partner and thought spar and thought mobilize with you. And so I would love for you guys just to share this story and how it came about.
Yeah. So I asked AJ to be the curator for the Future of Work Day. And so Rosanna Durarthi, VP of Belonging Employee Experience and 7 other things, is the co-chair. But she's got a giant VP job at a ginormous corporation, and so the actual sort of like granularity of what curation takes, I needed a partner on that, and I knew from previous conversations, I knew AJ's point of view, I knew her thesis. We had talked about my thesis, and those two things were compatible. And so I asked if she would join us on this journey to help shape this entire day and the whole conversation. And so she did that. And probably a couple of weeks into it, I started getting emails from this guy named Atlas. And I was like, who is Atlas? I didn't know AJ had an assistant. And they were so polite and so thoughtful and very, like there's nothing we've all had the assistant that we were like, oh, yeah. When you see the email, you're like, oh, they shouldn't have sent that. And it's like, Atlas was just great. And so I was talking to AJ when we were having one of our curator calls, and I was like, who's Atlas? Like, where'd you get your VA from? And that's when she said,
I made it.
And so then I watched Atlas a little bit more, because now I'm really intrigued. I'm paying attention, right? And after a few more days, I call her up and I said, AJ, I need one of these.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, actually. I think I sat down, we had that 𝘠𝘓𝘕 moment, which is just like the 𝘵𝑔PT moment in, November of, what is it now, 2022, whenever it happened. And I said, I think I'm going to build one. I had no idea. Okay, I mean, for those of you who don't know a little bit about my background, I do a lot of thought leadership pieces as well, but I'm really an experimenter and a prototyper. So I'm also a huge fan of thought doership, right? So if you can think it, you can do it. And what was...
Word.
Hey. So it was really awesome because also during the time where we were getting such influx of who are the speakers, what did the blocks look like, what does the agenda look like, I was also emceeing another conference in Las Vegas while it was happening, and we had some due dates to start reaching out to the Human Tech Week advisors. We were trying to curate an advisory group. And when I built Atlas, one of the things that I did with him was, yes, it's a him. So you're like, what? Was actually spent a lot of time looking at the markdown files, how I wanted him to make decisions, how I wanted him to interact with people, how I wanted to make sure he represented me. And it was complete trust, because I don't know, and I was also reading a lot of things, they're going to take all of your information and email all of your stuff. I think, we were in the build, Nicole was like, is my data safe? And I'm like, yeah, I put it in a virtual private server. It's all in a virtual private network. I mean, I learned Python. I was on terminal coding within the Mac OS system. And it was a lot of the build was really about what do we want to be able to have capacity for that is not just for your workflow, right? Can it help me think better? Not just can I give something to it so that it will do something. And I mean, it's lied to me already a few times. I did open source it and blog about it as well on Substack, which was a ton of fun. But it wasn't without issues. By the way, Nicole was the very first AI agent I built after Atlas. And I am now 16 agents in building for different clients. So I have the clients that I coach, I build the agent alongside with them, and then I coach them and the agent on the back end as well.
Yeah, and one quick thing that I want to do just to sort of like time set to put everyone in the same place. So in October 2020, November 23 is when 𝘵𝑔PT
That's right,
came out. And it's like, just if you think about like life now and the way that you think about it, that was November of 23. November of 25, when 𝘠𝘓𝘕 came out, it's the exact same. Yeah. Like if you think about like how different life is because of the LLMs, it is that different now because of agentic AI. It just hasn't percolated its way through, which is why you're so fortunate to be in TLC to hear about it. So that's one thing. The other thing is that it's a completely different way of working. So in the sense of right now, when many of us are still, and I am still in many ways, but it's like even if you have a team, you're still doing a thing. It's a different style of working. So like I was chatting with someone, who is rethinking her business. She's trying to think about like what the next generation of her business was. And I was like, you cannot rethink your next generation of business until you build an agent. Because if you don't understand the sea change, the choice you make about how you will rebuild or extend your business doesn't include that, the color of the sky has completely changed. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Can you say more about that piece of it, right? I see them nodding their heads around, because people, this order of operations thing we've been talking a lot about this morning, where like doing things in the right order, but it's not linear. And so even this idea of like building an agent that actually could fail and will fail, as even AJ said, all of AI, any machine, even your car, right? It breaks down, right? Nothing is 100%. But can you talk more about when you say build the agent first before you even expand? Let's say the team, or like the team you kind of want to run, or the business you want to run. Can you say a little bit more? Would that be helpful?
I can say a little bit more about that. I mean, so I am the quintessential multrapreneur, so as most of the folks in this room are, I'm sure. I have about 9 email boxes and 11 calendars that I have to manage.
Including kids' calendars, right?
Including kids' okay, so I've got 15 calendars. Because I have 3 kids, including my 43-year-old, who's my oldest. Yeah, my oldest is 43. So as I'm having to manage all of these different pieces, what's been really interesting for me is, what do I want to have time back for? Right? And Atlas.
Key question.
Yeah, and it's not just what I want to delegate, because you can just go do that. You can TaskRabbit that thing, or you can ask Claude to do a thing. But what do I actually want to delegate? Well, I want to configure my agent, who now does 3 briefings for me every day, morning, noon, and night, checks all the email boxes, and I've given it principles around what's the most important thing I need to pay attention to. It understands my goal for the quarter. It understands my goal for the next 6 months. It understands actually my top 7 relationships that I'm working with, and the big projects that I have. You are in my Markdown file because because we've been working on Human Tech Week together, right? So Atlas knows if I'm flagging something, and if he's seeing something from Nicole, hey, this is an important piece that you need to be able to address. So it's very different workflow than just saying, I need you to do step A, B, and C for me. And what happens is 7:30 in the morning, 1:30 p.m., and 7:30 at night, I get 3 emails on my Telegram with Atlas, and he tells me all of the things that I need to be looking at. And then it's actually related to the principle of what I'm trying to accomplish, right? And then here's one case study. It actually booked a $5,000 speaking engagement for me. Here's what happened. I just asked him to go through my last 60 days of emails when I first came on board, boarded him into my system. And he was like, hey, by the way, he's ingested my bio and all of these links, et cetera. He said, by the way, you have an email in here that you haven't read in 3 weeks for an opportunity to do something for the Santa Clara County Alameda Youth Summit. Would you be interested in having a conversation? They just want to meet with you and see. I took the 15-minute meeting, which he put on my calendar, scheduled with them, and then I walked out of there with them like, we would love to have you as our keynote speaker. I never would have seen that. Right? But it knew my goal as I input in there. So the principles are really important of what you want the agent to assist you with, so you can exponentially, multiply your time.
And I want to say that from this morning, that's one of the things we talked about with the Thought Leader Success Stack. That's what I mean by your own personal strategy, and what are the 1 to 2 things that you want to free up time. And I love how AJ learned that her agent started learning more about her because she kept feeding it the right things, but it's because she's understanding her body of work. She knows she's a multi-hyphenate, and even just owning that and saying, I am a multi-hyphenate thinker. I can't wait, because AJ and I are going to build my Atlas in 2 weeks. And one of the things that I'm excited about is back to TLC is, like, this is what thought leaders, experts need, is they need to be able to build it off of their own personal strategy, their strategic stack. And each one of you has a different strategic stack, because some of you have kids, some of you don't, some of you have other things that you care about, some of you have a day job.
And you can hard code that into your agent.
Right.
So
so one of the things, just for Human Tech Week, so we have on the back end teams, we have a production team, but we also have we have 9 VAs plus my staff, because we did this whole thing in 6 months. And
she's crazy in all the best ways. Huge vision.
But now we have a year. So what happens is that, so every day, everyone on the team sends, because we made a plan, like how are we gonna get there from here, and what has to happen every day. And I sat in and strategically and sat down and did all of that planning. It's a giant Excel. And then everybody knows what their points are. Every day they email Sage, who's mine. They email Sage what they did, and what their blocks are, and what they're doing the next day. And then Sage reads the whole thing and tells me across 15 different people, are we on track against plan? What's not working? But this is the most important thing, and we'll go over just a second for this. This is the most important thing. So because I'm an overachiever, I had someone work up like 30 different skills that I wanted my agent to have. And so I send them, and I had someone like do the whole thing. They built the tree, everything, and I sent it to AJ, and I was like, this is what I want. It's in my GitHub. And she activated it.
I was like, I'll plug it in.
And Sage did not work.
No.
Did not work at all. And so we had to go in and gut it. Because actually, when you're building these agents in the beginning, the most important thing, because for them to act in the world on your behalf, they have to act in the world on your style and how you interact with humans. And so it's a human-to-human thing that they have to learn. And so actually, the reason why Atlas worked so well in the beginning and then now Sage is working better, we're going to have to go in and rebuild her because she still has a bunch of GitHub stuff in there. But
it says multiple personality disorder.
It's how to be. It's really how to be. And so it's funny, it's like in the beginning, it's like when Sage would do these reports and she would send me the email that she was gonna send to people. She would be like, you are behind. And I was like, and I had these conversations with it. I was like, you cannot speak to people like that.
I think you said, take Atlas's email and model it.
Yeah, but I was like, you cannot speak to people like this. And it was like, you're the blocker. And I was like, you cannot talk to people like this. So, so I guess the takeaways would be, this is a completely new way of working, however you do it. One of the things that's beautiful about AJ is that she actually will do all of it, and so there's many different ways to choose your own adventure, but you must understand this way of working, especially if you're reimagining what your businesses must be, because it's like the ground level has totally changed, and it's orchestration. And it's a different style of working and a different style of leading. And I would really even say you can't strategically direct your business without understanding it, because you don't want to play one game when everyone else is playing Go. Like you don't want to play checkers when everyone's playing Go. And that's what it's going to be. And then also the other part is like, which is really tied into everything that we're doing, is that it's really the most important thing is to, one, you have to start slow, and two, you have to train them how to be with the people that you're doing business with, which is really, not what people would expect.
Yeah, I fed my agent my 360. I gave my agent my entire LinkedIn download profile, everything, the top 7 people that I'm working with, my goals. So there's a lot of work ahead of time strategically, as Jen was saying, map all of that out. We do have a operator blueprint now. And I've been learning all of this. Atlas, actually, if you look at our website now, the Troublemaker Lab, he built all of that, including the actual funnel. So it allows for you to do so many things where you can sit there and actually be of the thought so you can be. So yeah, it has changed quite a bit. A lot for me too.
The key is this prototyping mindset, which to some people looks like being willing to fail. So as I said, fail faster. That's the key. Failing slow sucks. You have to fail faster, but not look at it as failure. Look at it as like, oh my gosh, I'm prototyping. It's starting to get to know me. I'm iterating. And then sometimes you do build it in a way that it actually did put you in a corner and you have to undo it. And instead of thinking that's the end-all be-all, the flexibility is there. And what I love is that now you don't have to spend $100 million for that level of quote-unquote programming. You can work with coaches who help you implement this and you can link them into your frameworks and all like the really exciting things. So thank you for sharing, and I can't wait to report how I haven't named my girl yet, but we're gonna maybe we can like have a contest to name the agent.
Are you sure it's is yours
Androgynous,
A girl?
maybe.
A girl,
Oh, is
or-
she androgynous? I don't know
or is
yet.
it do you have a male or female assistant?
Well, I was thinking maybe I would name her or him or it Brandy.
Ooh.
Like brand I. Like
love it.
AI, but brand I. So Brandy.
Okay, we can try that on.
Okay, so
I like
Brandy.
that. Those are good pronouns.
I can't wait to introduce y'all to Brandy.
Is it a she, her pronoun?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I'll have
better
to
than
ask
a-
her.
it's better than a
I'm gonna have
when,
to
where.
ask Brandy what they feel. But anyway, thank you so much for sharing. We have all we're gonna be talking about actually strategy and money and AI systems soon on other panels. But thank you, Nicole and AJ.